Welcome to Learning with the Diggers Club. My name's Ryan and today we're going to talk about organic pest and weed management. Gardening organically is not only better for the environment, it's also much better and healthier for you and your family, particularly when growing your own fruit and vegetables. We'll start with the pests that might come to your garden. They can be divided into two main groups. There'll be chewing pests and sucking pests. Chewing insects attack your plant by chewing the leaves, the stems, or sometimes the roots of a plant. Common chewing insects would include caterpillars, cabbage white moth, earwigs and slaters, pear and cherry slugs, and snails and slugs. Some simple controls for chewing pests involve the use of a horticultural oil like eco oil, which creates an oily surface on the leaf and suffocates any bugs that are there, and also makes the leaf surface less likely to have eggs laid on it, or a deterrent or neem oil which can be used to deter, and it is also toxic to a lot of pests when they ingest it, but it doesn't damage the crops at all. When it comes to slugs and snails, they're often active at night when we're asleep. So having traps ready to catch them is a great idea. Now these are simple traps that you bury in the ground, put something yeasty in them like Vegemite or beer in the bottom, and then empty them every 3 or 4 days. It has a great impact on controlling the population of slugs and snails. 80% of pest control is based on observation and analysis and knowing what pests are in your garden. The use of something like a yellow sticky trap can be a great way to do a survey of your garden for small flying insects that you might not otherwise notice. You can leave this in your garden in areas where you have noticed problems, and after a few days have a check and see what pests there are, and then you can delve deeper and learn about their life cycles and a control method suitable for that particular pest. The second group of garden pests are sucking insects. Sucking insects come in many forms, from beetles like harlequin bugs to aphids and mites. Now, lots of sap-sucking insects are quite easy to control again through the use of a horticultural oil like eco oil. Mealybugs and red spider mite and azalea lace bug and aphids that all harbour in colonies quite close together or below the leaf surface can easily be suffocated by an application of eco oil. The reason at Diggers that we promote an organic approach to pest management is the synthetic chemical approach is very indiscriminate. It kills the good, the bad and the ugly. It'll kill the pollinators and the predators along with the pests. Prevention is better than cure. The best way to prevent pest problems is to build up your plant diversity, having a wide variety of different flowering plants, flowering times, flowering shapes and colours. This in turn will build up a great diversity in your insect populations. You'll have more pollinators and you'll have more predators to eat those pests. At Diggers, our seed department puts together a great collection specifically for attracting beneficial insects. When we're talking about planting for beneficial insects, we're often talking about beautiful Mediterranean herbs like this rosemary here, things like this borage, lots of umbral flat top flowers like dill in flower and yarrows that are great habitat for lots of good predator bugs. A healthy plant is much better able to protect itself from pest and disease attack. So gardening through your soil and using organic fertilisers and seaweed solutions and certainly lots of compost is a great way to help your plants protect themselves. A surefire way to prevent pest attack is by the use of physical barriers, like this fine bird netting here. It's fine enough to keep birds out, and certainly if you secure it and peg it down firmly enough, possums and bats, but it will allow pollinators through to pollinate your crops. To protect your much-loved pot plants from snail and slug attack, it can be as simple as using a copper tape that you put around the circumference of the pot. As the snail makes contact with that copper, it will give them a mild electric shock and they just drop back down. Another useful tool in organic gardening is diatomaceous earth. It's made from fossilised seashells ground down to a fine powder. It's very useful to physically combat pest bugs such as hard-shelled beetles like harlequin bugs and earwigs, and also for pear and cherry slug that have made their way up to the foliage of your cherry trees. It's also used a lot by people that keep chickens. It's great for keeping the fleas and lice and ticks off chickens. Now we're going to talk about organic weed control. A weed is classified as a plant that is not right for the right place, or if let run wild, has the potential to cause environmental problems. The best approach with organic weed control is the mechanical. So to get the weeds and get them when they're young and get them before they flower and produce multiple years of seed all in one flowering. Once you're in control of your weed populations, it's a good idea to keep in control of them. Now you can do this by making sure you don't over-fertilise your garden, and also by using a good sterilised, pasteurised mulch that is free of weed seed to help suppress any seeds still present in your soil. And lastly, taking the combined approach of organic integrated pest management into your garden and using all the tools, biological, cultural and mechanical, to keep the pests at bay and in control in your garden. When done right, taking the organic approach yields more vigorous growth, much more bountiful harvests, and the peace of mind you'll gain from removing all chemicals from your garden is priceless.